What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. My name's Shalisa if you're new here, and if you tune into my channel on a regular, first things first, thank you so much. Appreciate your support and for you subscribing to my channel. But if you've been watching my channel over the past year, then you know I am a military spouse and my husband and I are currently stationed in Naples, Italy. And if you are a military spouse just like I am, then you know that we are about to transition into PCS season. And I have been reading your comments down in the comment section and responding. So I do know that there are a few people who are about to make the transition out here to Naples, Italy. So I thought it would be a good idea to share my honest, transparent view and opinion of what it's like being here in Naples, Italy as a military spouse. I do want to preface this video and make it very clear this is my personal opinion about, how life is out here being a military spouse. My opinion may differ from yours. My experience may differ from yours. So again, this is just some information to add to your toolbox of knowledge as you make the transition out here. A pro and a positive that I have when it comes to living here in Naples, Italy as a military spouse is the fact that you get assistance with making a huge move overseas, and it makes the move a little bit easier. My mom has always said that if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And I can say for myself and my circle of friends and family, there's not a lot of people who have taken the leap to move to a whole different country. I barely know a lot of people who have taken the leap to move to a different state. And it just speaks to the courage that it takes for us to move overseas, being willing to embark on this challenge, being willing to do something different. But all this comes at a cost and a risk of this being a challenging thing. Moving in general is not easy, and moving to a different country is not easy. And that is one of the positive plus thumbs up I give to being a part of the military, is they do help make the move a lot easier to do. I watched a lot of YouTube videos before we made the move out here, and I was rarely seeing any videos where it was coming from a military spouse perspective. And the individuals who were making the move overseas, they had to go through reaching out to different embassies and going to different offices to make sure they had the correct visas. They had to coordinate how they were going to move their stuff. And a lot of the people I would see, a lot of people ended up selling a lot of their things because it's just easier to move anywhere if I'm moving with a couple of suitcases of luggage rather than I'm moving with an entire house of things. Whereas as a military spouse, the military takes care of that. You don't have to worry or think about selling your things. You can give yourself a little bit more time to make those decisions. Another aspect of this pro is the fact that moving with the military allows you to get a taste of what life is like living overseas before you have to commit to the entire thing. I can't speak for anyone else, but I know for myself personally, for like the past year or two, I have really had a strong desire to live overseas permanently. That is what I want. That's something that my husband and I want as well. We very much see ourselves, when it's all said and done, when he gets out of the Navy, creating a home overseas. And the good thing about moving overseas with the military is it allows us to test it out, to kind of actually be like, okay, it's easy to sit here and dream and talk about it and think about it, but are you really gonna like it if you actually do it? And so that's something I really enjoy and appreciate moving over here with the military. One of the biggest cons that I have with being in Naples, Italy as a military spouse is sometimes I can feel like being associated with the military can be very overbearing, and there can be restrictions in place that just impede on the overall experience living here in Italy. One of them that I feel like I have griped about a lot on my channel is the mandatory base housing. And I've detailed in a previous video how my family went through the housing process, how we were able to bypass the 1 year on base. If you want more information on that, go ahead and check that video out after this one. But yeah, for me, before we even got here and my husband was like, oh, you gotta live on base for a year, I was not feeling it. I was livid. So for me, I'm a firm believer of like, hey, we work for the military, we work for the government, but our home is our home. We are the ones who should have the ultimate say of what our home life should look like. And I just really feel like it's very overbearing and it's encroaching on like our personal life in general to have to adhere to those requirements. And yes, I've heard and I've spoken to several different representatives on the base on why they have that particular policy in place. At the end of the day, my husband and I know what's best for our family, and I don't feel like it is right for the base or the military or the government to tell my husband and I what we should be doing in order to manage our household. Another restriction or regulation or policy that I feel like is really overbearing is the work restrictions. A lot of spouses have had to put their careers on pause because of the work restrictions and policies in place between the United States government and the Italian government. I've created a whole video on that detailing, you know, how my hiring process was getting a job out here. Check that video out after you watch this one. But again, there are just a lot of restrictions and policies at play that can really take a toll on your experience here. And it can be extremely frustrating. While there are restrictions in place that can be a buzzkill at times, it's definitely something that can be overlooked and overcome. A pro that can differ depending on a whole bunch of different factors, but a pro that me and my husband are both in agreement on this is being a military family here in Naples, Italy. Financially, we are able to save so much money. I have created a video detailing our cost of living breakdown, so check that video out after this one. But aside from just our day-to-day, month-to-month, you know, expenses, we are able to just save for, you know, retirement, save for Parker in the future. Like, we are able to save a lot of money. And this is after we have paid all of our bills. This is after we have saved for traveling, and we have doubled our savings on a month-to-month basis living out here in Naples compared to what we were saving back home in Virginia. And some of the factors that play a role in us being able to save so much is, one, you know, we live off base. Another reason why we're able to save the way that we do is because we are a two-income household. We also somewhat differ from our peers. It is really, really easy moving out here to get the travel bug and travel every time you have the opportunity to. Trust me, y'all, I got the travel bug. I don't know if we have to move back to the States. I don't know how I'm gonna deal with moving back to the States and not being able to travel the way that we're traveling now. Like, yeah, you know, we could travel somewhere in the States, that's cool, but like to be able to go to London last month and like Portugal this summer, it's like you're not able to do that type of traveling at the cost that we're able to do it out here because we're already in Europe. But we feel are conservative with how we're traveling, because myself and my husband, we work with people who they travel almost every other weekend. Because my husband and I have financial goals that we are really focused and steadfast on achieving, but also realizing that, you know, you gotta live life for now. Instead of us traveling every month or every other weekend, we've just decided that, you know what, we're gonna travel every other month. I say all that to say there is an opportunity to save a lot living here in Naples, Italy, if you play your cards right, depending upon how your family's finances are managed and handled. So I'll do another pro, because I kind of already touched on this pro in my last one, but the travel opportunities here. The travel is amazing. I have said it before, but Naples, in my opinion, is the perfect travel hub because you're literally anywhere between a 2 to 3 hour flight from a lot of major European countries. And it's super convenient to get to the airport out here if you're associated with the military. So it just makes traveling such an easy thing to do. Working for the government here, working for the Navy here, despite, you know, being steadfast and focused on priorities and getting things done, the work culture, in my opinion, is very much supportive of people traveling. So for me, one of the cons of being a military spouse out here is I personally can say that I have not really fully immersed myself into the culture, into the community. I really feel like I have not really dived into really truly sink my feet in and get connected with the Italian culture, community, or anything like that. And for me, a part of the reason why I have not done that is because I know we're only gonna be here for like 2 to 3 years. I don't know if I want to put forth the energy and the effort to immerse myself deeper into the Neapolitan community and the culture when I know I'm going to leave soon. And I say that from my particular vantage point because I'm strapped for time, y'all. Like, I am always trying to figure out and scrape where I can get some extra time between being a wife, a mother, working a full-time job, coming and creating content on my channel. And I have also started a blog, y'all. I have not shared this with you all at all, but I have created a blog. It's called Seabag Globetrotting. So I share some more additional information that I may not touch on my channel, on my blog. So I will link that below. It is also linked on my channel for you to check it out. But again, I've started a blog. So I just have so many things going on. And as much as I want to learn another language, as much as I want to fully engulf myself in the Italian culture, knowing that I'm not gonna be here for a very long time, it's like, is this the best way to utilize my time? Whereas I can take that time that I would put into learning a new language or interacting with locals and put it back into my channel or put it back into my family. And so that's kind of a damper. And it's really a con and a damper for me, the fact that we're not gonna be here that long. Like, I wish we had like 5-year orders. Like, that would be great. If we had 5-year orders, it'd be like, okay, I'm going to take an Italian like class. I'm gonna learn some Italian. You know, I'm gonna go on Facebook where the meetups at. I'm gonna, you know, try to really put forth effort to make some friends. But because we're only gonna be here for 2 years, it's just like, you know what? I just don't have the time to spare. Now, I will say, if God willing, Lord Jesus, please, if we are blessed with the opportunity to stay in the, you know, country of Italy, I definitely plan on taking Italian classes. I definitely plan on taking it. So, sending my prayers up. Fingers crossed. If we can make that happen, that would be great. Another con of being a military spouse living in Naples is interacting with the locals can be extremely tough. The two biggest barriers are the language and just the cultural norms and the different standards that, you know, we are not on the same page with. You know, again, if you don't know how to speak the language, it's always gonna be tough. So that, for me, I don't put that blame on nobody but myself. Assuming you're coming out here and you don't speak the language, and then sometimes going out and, you know, trying to interact with some of the locals, sometimes it can not be the easiest to navigate. Sometimes it can seem a little off, it can seem a little cold. I've talked about some of the staring at times. It can just make things really, really tough. Now, I have had individuals who are either European or who are Italians and just say that, you know, it could take Italians or Europeans in general to like open up to people. I've seen and also heard that, like, I guess we as Americans are open to speaking to random people and having random conversations with people. We have not a clue who you are, but we will have a conversation with you. And in Europe and in Italy, that's not a norm. It's like, I don't know you, why would I talk to you? And so I've had people comment in my comment section, like just how that is a cultural difference. But once you start to interact with, you know, Italians or Europeans, like then they will open up to you. That's what I've been told. That's what I've heard. But again, it's kind of hard to do that when you don't speak the language. The final pro that I have, it kind of like builds off the con, that while it may be very difficult to create a bond with the local Neapolitans out here, just given the amount of time you will be stationed out here, and again, trying to work through the language barrier, you always have resources on base. And you know, I can say for myself, being very like headstrong and like, hey, I want to, you know, live in Italy and I want to, you know, really immerse myself in the Italian culture. And, you know, I don't want to be so reliant on the base. I will 100% say, you know, it is nice having a base out here to be like, you know what, when I, you know, don't feel like being in an uncomfortable situation of like, you know, going to the grocery store and not knowing how to speak the language when they ask me something, it's always nice to be like, you know what, instead of me going to a local grocery store, I can just go to the store on base. I'm gonna spend more money. It may not be the best quality, but it's like, you know what, it's experience that I'm familiar with, and you know, it's always there. That's one of the biggest pros. It's like there's always a base here, and the base, not only does it have like the Next in the grocery store, if you have kids, the base has a ton of playgrounds. If you have teenagers, the base has a teen center. The base is always trying to host and create like trips for families to go to, like the MWR. Every month they have like trips to local wineries or places in the immediate area that, you know, if you pay a fee, you know, you can show up, get on the bus and have a good time. Like the base has also organized like cruises where you can pay for a Mediterranean cruise through the base. And you know, the base has a lot of resources. They also throw events. They are always trying to do something to, you know, create a little bit of home, a little bit of normalcy that we as military spouses and Americans are used to. That is a pro. Y'all, I can be very headstrong and I am very stubborn. And when we first got out here, I don't know why, I just thought like I would be able to come out here and again, watched all these YouTube videos about people living overseas and just living out here free and, you know, doing their own thing. And like, I really wanted that for myself and for my family, and it was very frustrating to be kind of held back and restricted and having to adhere to the military's policies, and how like, yeah, you're out here overseas, but like you're out here because we helped you to be out here. You're out here because your husband's on a mission, you're on a mission, so like we could be out here, but you gotta adhere to our rules. And I was kind of frustrated. Like I thought I was gonna come out here and live a life overseas like some other people on YouTube, and it was very frustrating when I got that reality check of that's just not how it's gonna be. But I had to remind myself and tell myself that like, hey, you know, not everyone's experience living overseas looks the same, and this is just the first step. This is my first experience living overseas. That doesn't mean that 5-10 years from now, if and when we're still overseas, it'll still look like this, you know? This is the first step, and why not take the help and the resources that I have available to me to make life a little bit easier. So as much as I can behind the scenes to my husband complain about some of the policies and rules and regulations that are put in place living overseas as a military spouse, I will say I am very thankful for the opportunity that I have to live overseas because of my association to the military. And if you were paying attention and you counted, there's more pros on this list than cons. So in my personal opinion, I think living overseas as a military spouse is overall a great experience. So hopefully this list helps anyone who is about to make the move in the transition over here to Naples, Italy in the near future. Again, PCS season is coming up, y'all. It is right around the corner. I've been in communication with people who are about to move out here to Naples or, you know, to Sigonella. Like, PCS season is coming, y'all. So hopefully this video helps as you make the move. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions, put them down below in the comment section. Subscribe, y'all. And as always, I will see you in the next video below.